Hello everyone, welcome to BVLSI Design Lecture number 25G. Today we are going to realize a compact XNOR gate using technique number 3. So let us dive in. This is my circuit or transistor level implementation which will give us a compact XNOR implementation. So here we have used two NMOS transistors connected in this fashion, and we have used two PMOS transistors connected in series in this fashion, wherein the VDD is applied to the first, PMOS pass transistor. Now let us look at the truth table. So over here, we all know that for a XNOR gate, whenever both the inputs are same, only then the output is logic 1, else the output is logic 0. So let us move forward and understand the working of this circuit, transistor level implementation. So for the case number 1, when we consider A and B as logic 0 and logic 0, so since A is logic 0, your MP1 transistor, PMOS transistor is on, and also since B is logic 0, MP2 is also on. So both the PMOS transistors are on. Whereas since B is logic 0, Mn2 is off, the N pass transistor is off, and also since we have applied logic 0 to the gate of Mn1, Mn1 is also off. So in this case number 1, both the NMOS transistors are off and both the PMOS transistors are on. Now, these two PMOS transistors connected in series are passing, we are passing logic 1, that is VDD, through this PMOS pass transistor. And we have connected a logic 0 to the gate terminal. That means both MP1 and MP2 are on, and it will pass this logic 1 to the output. So at the output, we get a strong logic 1 for 0 and 0 volt. Let us check that. So for whenever VA and VB are 0 and 0, your MP1 and MP2 are on, and we get a strong logic 1. So this was the first case. In the second case, A is logic 0. That means MP1 is on and MN1 is off. B is logic 1. That means MN2 is on but MP2 is off. Now since MP2 is off and since it is a series network, your lower PMOS transistors, that is both the PMOS transistors, even if one is off, if they are connected in series, the entire series network becomes redundant. So now in this circuit, now the relevant transistor is Mn2, which is on. So if you see carefully over here, the gate terminal of Mn2 is connected to your logic 1, and we are trying to pass a logic 0 through it. So Mn2 will act as an N pass transistor logic, and it will pass logic 1 very strongly. So at the output, you will get a strong 0. Okay, and just for revision, for NMOS pass transistor, it passes logic 0 very strongly, whereas it passes logic 1, a weak logic 1 at the output. Whenever we try to pass logic 1, that is VDD minus VTN will be the weak logic 1. And similarly for a PMOS pass transistor, it passes logic 1 very strongly, but logic 0 is being transferred into a weak logic 0. That means it passes at the output mod of VTP, provided the gate terminal is grounded for PMOS pass transistor. So we have seen the second case. In the second case, your MP2 is off and MN1 is off. Okay, rest other transistors are on. So MP1 and MP1 and MN2 are on in case number 2, and hence this MN2 will act as the NPOS pass transistor, and it will pass the logic 0, strong logic 0 at the output. So let us check this case 0 and 1. So over here, when VA is 0 and VB is 5 volt, your MP1 is on and MN2 is on, and the output is a strong logic 0, that is 0 volt at the output. Now let us check the next case. So in case number 3, A is logic 0, that means MP1 is off. B is logic 1, that means MP2 is on. But still, since they are connected in series, this entire series network becomes redundant. Now let us concentrate over here. Now since A is logic 1, it is applied to the gate of Mn1. So Mn1 turns on. Whereas if you apply a logic 0 to the gate of N-pass transistor, NMOS pass transistor, so Mn2 will be off. So Mn2 is off. So the only active transistor which is relevant over here, is Mn1. Now, if you see carefully, Mn1, the gate terminal is applied to a logic 1, and we are trying to pass a logic 0. So you can trace the part over here of this yellow line. So logic 0 will be transferred easily to the output, and at the output we get a strong logic 0. Okay, so in this case, MP2 is on and Mn1 is on. Okay, and we get a strong logic 0. So this is the scenario when VA is 5 volt and VB is 0 volts. MN1 is on and MP2 is on, whereas it produces at the output a strong logic 0, that is 0 volt at the output. Let us check the next scenario, case number 4. So in case number 4, when both both the inputs A and B are high, that is logic 1, that means both the PMOS transistors are off. Okay, there is no chance they can be on. That means also both the NMOS transistors are on. So there are two paths through which the logic 1 can be transferred to the output. It can be transferred via Mn2 or it can be transferred via Mn1. Now if you see carefully, both are trying to pass a logic 1 through a NMOS pass transistor. And when we pass a logic 1 through the NMOS pass transistor, output will be a weak logic 1. So your output value will be Vmax, which is VDD minus VTN value. Okay, and there are two parts which we can have the output as weak logic 1. One is via Mn1 and other is via Mn2. So both are trying to pass a logic 1, but at the output we get a weak logic 1. Okay, so this is the functionality of all the cases, all the 4 cases which was given in the truth table. So in this case, V and VB is 5 and 5 volt, Mn1 and Mn2 are on, whereas MP1 and MP2 are off. And at the output, we get a weak logic 1, that is Vmax value, which is VDD minus VTN. Okay. Now, next thing left is to check the compact XNOR implementation in LT-Spice. So let me just minimize this and open the LT-Spice where the circuit is already made available for your reference. So let me maximize this. Now, let us check one by one. So over here, this is the circuit which is built up. So if you see carefully, this is A, this is VDD. These are the two PMOS transistors which are connected. And this is my two NMOS transistors which are connected with the inputs as A and B. And this is my output. Okay. So let me maximize this. This is my XNOR gate, compact XNOR gate realization. Okay, so here we A and B is a pulse with specification as 0 and 5. Delay time is 5 milliseconds. Rise time and fall time is 10 picoseconds. On time is 5 milli and the period is around 10 milliseconds with the cycles of 10. And for the B, the pulse duration is slightly different, 0 to 5, but the delay time is 1.2 milliseconds. The rise time and the fall time is 10 picoseconds. On time is 5 and the period is 8 milliseconds and the cycle is 10. And we have applied a 5 volt as a VDD. And we have also given the dot model parameters for both NMOS and PMOS. W and L parameters are given, 1 micrometer and 2 micrometer for NMOS and 2 micrometer and 1 micrometer for PMOS, W and L. Whereas the threshold voltage is given as 1 volt and minus 1 volt respectively, along with the Kn values and Kp values. Now, let me simulate this circuit. So I'll go to simulate. Dot run I've taken as 25 milliseconds. So when you go to simulate and click on run, after selecting the transient response, you'll get a blank screen with the x-axis as time. I'll right click, add a plane plot. Again, I right click, add another plane plot. Y3, one for VA, other for VB. This is for VB. And the last one is for V out. Okay. So now let us analyze this carefully. Let us analyze this carefully. Let me keep this way and let us bring the table now. So the first case is 0 and 0, second case is 0 and 1, third case is 1 and 0, and the final case is 1 and 1. I'm talking in the sequence VA and VB. Okay, so let us check the first case over here. So let me take the cursor and mark the first case. So this is the first case, 0 and 0. When VA and VB are both 0 and 0, we get a strong logic 1 at the output. As you can see, we are getting 5 volts, which is a strong logic 1. Next is this, VA is 0 and VB is 1. So VA is 0, VB is 1, we get a strong logic 0. Here you can see 18.47 nanovolt, which is as good as 0 volt. So we get a strong 0 over here. Next case is this, uh, both are 1 and 1, and both are 5 volt and 5 volt, V and VB. So at the output, we get a weak logic 1. So Vmax is VDD minus VTN. So over here, we are getting 3.99. Let us check the value of VTN. So for the VTN of the NMOS transistor is 1 volt over here, carefully. And your VDD is 5 volt. So VDD minus VTN, that is 5 minus 1, 4 volt it should be. And we are getting around 3.99. That's absolutely fine. Okay. Next case we check, it is VA is 5 volt and VB is 0 volt. So we should get a strong logic 0, and we are getting a 0 volt. 27.53 nanovolt is as good as 0 volt. Again over here we get VA and VB as 5 and 5 volt, and again we get a weak logic 1, which is around 4 volt, close to 4 volt, which is 3.9949. Let us check one or two cases more. So in the next case, we have VA as 0 volt and VB as 5 volt. So we get a strong logic 0 as expected. It is a XNOR operation. And in the next case, we have VA as 0 and VB as 0. And we get a strong logic 1, as you can see over here in the table. Okay. So in this way, you can carry out for all the other cases. It will work perfectly well. But the only limitation of this circuit, which you see over here, is that it doesn't provide a full output voltage swing. As you can see correctly, if for some of the cases, especially for when VA and VB are 5 volt, the output is a weak logic 0. That means we don't have a full output voltage swing. So to overcome this drawback, what we do is we connect a inverter at the output of this circuit. At the output of this circuit, we connect another CMOS inverter. So here is my CMOS inverter. I've connected V out to it as the input, and V out bar will be the output. So what will be the advantage? The advantage will be the output voltage swing will be now full, and there will be no loss of any logic level. But at the same time, the functionality of the circuit will change. So by connecting a CMOS inverter at the output, the functionality which was originally XNOR, which will become XOR now. Let me show it to you what I'm telling you all. So I will add another plot plane. I'll push it up over here, push it up slightly. And here I will plot V out bar, which is the output of the CMOS inverter. So let me change the color to somewhere dark. Let us say this. Yeah. So now if you see, let us check the logic levels. It is 5 volt and 0. Everywhere it is 5 volt and 0 volts. So there is no loss of any logic level. So we get a full output voltage swing. But if you see carefully, the V out and V out bar, they are exactly complementary. That means if V out is producing XNOR operation, V out bar will produce XOR operation. That's the only difference. And we require extra 2 transistors to implement this compact XOR circuit now. It has become now XOR implementation instead of XNOR. So if you want to implement XNOR, then you have to face this weak one whenever V and VB are at 1 at the same time. So if this is acceptable, then we can make this go ahead with this circuit. Or else, if that is not tolerable, what we can do is we can connect a CMOS inverter at the output of this compact XNOR gate. With the addition of 2 extra transistors, we will have a change in the functionality, and now for V out bar we have XOR operation. Okay, I guess we have completed this compact XNOR circuit realization in LTSpice and conceptually, and we have verified all the cases in the truth table. Okay, so I guess that's it for this online session. Next time we'll start with some other technique using a compact XOR implementation. So until then, have a good day and thank you.